So this is the guy who hazed me, Josh Pudlo, did hazing and fear assault against me. Okay. So let's go. So I confronted him about it, and he said, Arturo, firstly, you don't regret about what I had. No, firstly, obviously you don't realize that I regret I had what what happened that day. What the fuck, dude? You learn some. See, South Anchorage High doesn't teach people any type of grammar. This low life Polish hoodlum doesn't know any type of grammar. Firstly, you obviously don't realize the regret I had about what happened. Okay. See, my visual processing. Arturo, firstly, obviously you don't realize the regret I had about what happened that day. It was a shitty sequence of events, poorly timed, and it was my fault for not realizing that you lacked the ability to realize it was a joke. That was not a joke. Putting fucking salt on a mirror and telling a freshman to snort the shit off of a mirror, and then saying that you have a blicky with you, or a yapper, and then pointing your fingers through your warm-up jacket, acting as if you had a piece on you. That's not a joke. That is fear assault, and that is hazing. Got that, Josh? Got that? And he said, in no way did I intend for you to feel unsafe. Bullshit. That's a lie. That's a bold-faced lie by Josh Pudlo. Okay? What you did was textbook hazing, dude. What you did was textbook hazing. From the mirror with the salt on it, pretending it was cocaine, that's dangerous. And then when after I had seen him, Josh, after I had seen you brandishing a blade at Tommy Hop at the airport while we were waiting for the SUV to take us to the hotel, that put me that's not a good look. That's total, like, I had reason to be unsafe around you, Josh. And you're lying to me. Of course you intended for me to be unsafe. I was a freshman. You were a senior. It don't matter you have an August birthday and you started early, so you wasn't 18 yet. And I was only 15. There's a 2.5 year difference. Almost a 2 year difference. It don't matter that. Because of what you're lying. You clearly had the intent to put me in a bad position. You're supposed to be a senior and a leader. John Lewis looked at you as a senior and a leader. Walt Harmon looked at you as a senior and a leader. Same with Melanie Sugita and Tom Ritchie. And he also said, secondly, you can't be posting shit like that on my posts. I'll post whatever I want on your post, Josh Pudlo. Because you hazed me and you fear assaulted me. I'll say what I want. I'll speak my mind. Okay? You got that? And he said, that happened 8 years ago and you tried to get me arrested. Look, I just reported it because it happened to me. And you should have been arrested for fear assault and for hazing. Okay? You should have been arrested. You should have done time. Either at Goose Creek or at Spring Creek. You know what I mean? You should have. And I'm gonna bring a lawsuit against you too, dude. And he says, lastly, it seems you have something personal against YL, Young Life, and Trevor, and that do not have to do with me at all. Bullshit. You were the leader of that organization. You were the student leader of that organization. Every time Young Life was in the Commons at South High, you were operating the booth right next to Trevor Millar. So furthermore, you're a liar. You're a big liar, Josh Pudlo. You had the intention to put me in a bad situation, and you had every single of intention of collaborating with Young Life. And I believe that you hazed me and did fear assault to try to keep me quiet about Young Life's involvement in the public school system. You're lying. I'm taking you to court. Okay? You're lying and I'm taking you to court. um, I can't believe I have to tell you that what happened that day had nothing to do with Trevor or Young Life or any religious BS. Bullshit. You're such a liar. You're such a liar, Josh Pudlo. No one, dude, if I subpoena Brett Mormon, if I subpoena Roman Stephan, who was also involved with Young Life, and Andrew West, who was also involved with Young Life, there's a clear and obvious pattern of behavior and pattern of events involved at South Anchorage High with those people who are also members of the Young Life Protestant cult. And you definitely were trying to haze me. And you definitely were doing this at the behest of Young Life. So stop lying. Look, dude. I know people who work for the state, bruh. I know people who work for the state of Alaska. Okay? Just because the DA is a clown and the DA decided not to prosecute you, dude, and the piggies are corrupt and they decided not to arrest you, doesn't mean I can't take a civil lawsuit on you. I'll do a civil lawsuit and I'll get my restitution. You understand? Because that's where we're going. Nobody was trying to haze you. Bullshit. You clearly were. You walked in on a joke, which I admit I should not have been doing. I'll admit, but your actions were going to jeopardize me participating in the meet. Everything about what happened that day in that room, were shitty, and I'm sorry you had to be part of it. That was not a joke. That was hazing. Matter of fact, let's look up the definition of hazing. Hazing definition. Hazing, American English, initiation, beasting, British English, bastardization, Australian English, ragging, South Asian English, or deposition refers to any activity expected of someone in joining or participating in a group that humiliates, degraded, abuses, or endangered them, regardless of the person's willingness to participate. So regardless of the person's willingness to participate, regardless of my willingness to participate, you wanted me to snort salt, which was an activity that would degrade, humiliate, and abuse and endanger me. Hazing is seen in many different types of social groups, including gangs, sports teams, schools, cliques, universities, military units, prisons, fraternities and sororities, and even workplaces in some cases. The initiation rites can range from relatively benign pranks to protracted patterns of behavior that rise to the level of abuse or criminal misconduct. Josh Pudlo, what you did was abuse and criminal misconduct. That's what you did, dude. Hazing is often prohibited by law or institutions such as colleges and universities because it may include either physical or psychological abuse, such as humiliation, nudity, or sexual abuse. Dude, your shit had humiliation in it. Your situation involved what you put me through involved humiliation in it. Let's go back to the stupid excuse that Josh Pudlo made. You did haze me. You can claim you didn't haze me all the time, but if we look at the definition here on Wikipedia, you did an activity that expected someone, me, a freshman at the time, in joining or participating in a group that humiliates, degrades, abuses, or endangers them regardless of a person's willingness to participate. Smoking or snorting salt, that's abusive. Chasing me into the corner of my own room with your fingers pointed in your jacket like you had a 5 on you, that's dangerous. That's endangered me. That abused me. That humiliated me. That degraded me. And just because you told me to keep quiet about it, and I eventually told the administration of South Anchorage High, doesn't mean you should have been let off the hook. You definitely should have been arrested and done time. The cops in Anchorage suck. The DA in Anchorage sucks. And also the fact that it had happened in Fairbanks, very similarly to the, what was it, 2018 Diamond High hazing incident that their American football team had. And it would have probably gone to a special prosecutor had the DA and the cops been competent. So it don't matter if it was APD or FPD investigating that, or which district attorney in Anchorage or in Fairbanks who was investigating that. Josh Pudlo should be doing time for that. I don't know if you should necessarily be doing football numbers, but you should be doing some form of time for that. Because it's not fair to me as the survivor that you were let off the hook, fled to Hawaii, then fled to California. That shit's not fair for me. And I said, also, please don't talk about Trevor. I don't give a fuck if he had his inner tubing accident. The dude's a cult leader, and the dude needs to be exposed because he's violating the First Amendment. Look, I got Young Life kicked out of the ASD. I kicked Young Life out of the ASD because Ombudsman Daryl Hess is an incompetent Zionist Protestant loser. And we know for a fact that Daryl Hess is an incompetent Zionist loser who provides shelter for Protestants and Mormons and Zionists all over the place and runs cover for them. Want to know how I know that? Facebook. Okay? And so this was my response to him. This isn't a joke. That's dangerous, bruh. How are you going to do that to an insecure freshman? Also, we got Young Life kicked out of ASD, or at least I did, and multiple ASD administrators lied to the ombudsman under oath, which possibly could be perjury. Young Life is a cult that was breaking the rules, and I got them kicked out of ASD to add to my legacy of language declamation and titles. It was not a joke. It was hazing and fear assault. You should have been arrested. People have died from hazing before. Young Life was breaking ASD policy in the USA Constitution. Trevor Millar and all the Young Life people are losers. You jeopardize your participation at the state meet by hazing and fear assaulting me. I might go civil and sue you or drop a diss track. I got PTSD from my entire South experience, South Anchorage High, partly thanks to you. Ooh, that's this guy, Josh Pudlo. Okay. And the definition in the state of Alaska. And this is from the Alaska Bar Association. Okay, this is from the Alaska Bar Association. What is hazing? Hazing is the abuse and treatment of others as part of initiation into a group or of newer members of a group using physical, mental, or emotional harm. Again, that's what Pudlo did to me my freshman year. One example of hazing can be found in schools when older high schoolers haze incoming freshmen. Again, Pudlo was a senior, I was a freshman. Another example of hazing can be when gang members haze a new member as an initiation into their gang. That's called jumping in. I don't have experience with that, thank God, but I've heard stories on YouTube of that, of people getting jumped in and stuff. The person doing the hazing may associate their behavior with some sort of tradition. However, since hazing involves some form of harm, it might lead to school discipline or involvement with law enforcement. This can be true regardless of whether the person experiencing hazing was willing to take part in it. And that's why the pigs got involved, because you were hazing me, Josh Pudlo. So here's what should have happened, right? Most schools have a student code that is available for students to read. Hazing is usually listed as some form of prohibited conduct. The school may discipline students who are caught hazing. This can include a suspension or expulsion. If a school wants to discipline you for hazing, you make sure you are aware of the school discipline procedures. What should have happened to Pudlo is he should have been arrested. He should have been prosecuted. I believe the cops and the DA and the South administration, to a certain extent, ran cover for him, because when my parents were communicating to Kirsten Strumpler Johnson, she refused to use the word hazing and she used the word bullying instead. So that's how she ran cover. She said it was bullying instead of hazing when it was clearly hazing, and I just read the definition of hazing. A school may also contact the police, the pigs, if they think that hazing was harassment, involved in assault, or broke some law. Again, illegal substance and fear assault. That's 2 laws there. So yeah, Pudlo should have been arrested and he should have gone to prison, probably for like 4 or 5 years. If the pigs contact you, make sure you understand your rights. This includes asking to speak to an attorney before talking to law enforcement, and the right to have a parent or guardian present for any meeting with law enforcement. Is important to remember that school discipline and law enforcement involvement is not an either-or situation. The school may punish you and police may be involved for the same incident. This is especially true if the school has an SRO involved in the investigation. You know, the SRO probably could have let Pudlo off the hook too. What can I do if I'm getting hazed? Now, this is important for survivors. As mentioned above, hazing is a violation of the student code of conduct of many schools. Schools are required to provide a safe and healthy learning environment for their students and should investigate any complaint of hazing and act to stop it. South High did poorly investigating it, and they let the perpetrators off the hook for the most part, which is why Pudlo is a free man and he's not doing time. If you're experiencing hazing at school or at a school event, on your way to and from school, you can report it to a teacher, counselor at the office. You may also choose to talk to a parent, guardian, or safe adult about being hazed. See, I reported it to my parents, but I mean, looking back, my parents weren't really safe adults. Given that my dad, he was in and out of my life because of his seasonal job, and when he was in town, he was usually drunk and angry. He had a problem with drinking Alaskan Amber IPAs. My mom, she's kind of loosey-goosey, dysfunctional. And, I grew up in quite frankly, a dysfunctional household. Between dealing with her parents, dealing with me and my brother, dealing with her nephews, dealing with her older brother, it just wasn't, both of my parents were not safe adults for me. And then if you feel that the hazing you are experiencing arises to the level of harassment, assault, or another crime, my situation when I was hazed, that was fear assault, which is a misdemeanor. And it's a misdemeanor my cousin beat 2 cases for. Or not my cousin, my brother beat 2 cases for, including one against me. You may contact the pigs. You may also contact the pigs if the hazing you are experiencing is not taking place at school. Be sure to check out the page if you are the victim of a crime for more information about the resources available to you. Yeah, so 7 months after I was hazed by Pudlo, my brother actually did fear assault against me. We were getting ready to do the family picture at my mom's house. And I had my OG Parky, the first Parky I ever had, the Beaver and Wolf. It was my Beaver and Wolf Eddie Bauer. I had my Parky on. I was walking upstairs because I used to live down in the basement at my mom's house. And my brother jumped out from behind the corner with a weapon, and he drew a weapon on me. And my mom let him off the hook for that. My mom was not a safe adult to be around. My dad was not either. And my mom's younger brother was, and my grandpa and my mom's younger brother and my mom's sister-in-law were literally, who was the wife of my mom's younger brother, were literally someone, and my mom's neighbor were literally, but again, she wasn't the most safest because she had dogs at her house, and I have post-traumatic stress disorder from dogs as well. So, actually, specifically from her old dog, Nikolai, who was a German Shepherd and basically terrorized me when I was a kid. So she wasn't so my mom's younger brother, my mom's sister-in-law, and my grandpa were the only safe adults because like towards the end of my grandma's life, she became a drunk. She was addicted to gin and tonic. So I literally only had 3 safe adults in my life. I guess my club coach, Coach Rafa Chavarria, was technically a safe adult, but like I only saw him really at meets, at track meets, and then at training in the off season. Again, but then he worked at South my freshman year. He was the life skills TA. Great guy. He's a great guy, and I kind of consider him like a dad. Because I really didn't have a dad growing up, but yeah. But I think I might actually also litigate against my brother for fear assault as well, for what he did to me about 6 months. But what Pudlo did was hazing, 100%. This is hazing. Hazing. He did an activity that he expected me to join or participate, and it humiliated me, it degraded me, it abused me, and it endangered me. Okay? Snorting salt? He wanted me to snort salt. Okay? That's what he wanted me to do. He wanted me to snort salt. That's not cool. That could have abused me or endangered me. And it also humiliated and degraded me. That is hazing. Pudlo is a liar. He's a big liar. The South administration lied. The APD or the FPD lied. The DA lied. Whether it was the DA in Anchorage, where Pudlo and I grew up, or it was the DA in Fairbanks where the incident took place. The governor's office, if they had any involvement, they lied too. So I will be filing a civil suit against Pudlo, and I actually also might file a civil suit against my brother for the incident that happened 6 months later where my brother did fear assault against me. So I will, and I hope to win some money off of them. I ain't doing this for the money. I'm doing this to get justice for me, but that would be nice as well. And this is from the Alaska Bar Association. So hazing is the abusive treatment of others as part of an initiation into a group of newer members of a group using physical, mental, or emotional harm. Again, by trying to have me snort snort salt, which I thought was cocaine. Pudlo was using physical harm. He was using mental and emotional harm, with pointing his fingers through the jacket, and because I knew he had a blade on him, and I had seen it. I had seen him brandishing it at Tommy Hop the day prior. That's mental and emotional harm. And the fact that I was a freshman, because here's an example. One example of hazing can be found in schools when older high schoolers, aka seniors, which Pudlo was, haze incoming freshmen. This was at close to the end of my freshman year, because this was in May. But still, he was a senior, I was a freshman. Again, South Anchorage High has a terrible record of hazing, and it's a terrible school. Just quite frankly, the south side of Anchorage is a terrible place to live. People think it's the nice part of town. There's hella money and shit, all the oil money. It's not really a nice place to live. I grew up there. My mom grew up there in South Anchorage. My grandparents moved up there from Boston. So it's probably one of the worst places in the state of Alaska to live. But there's Pudlo and his girlfriend. Look, there's the Golden Gate Bridge. It looks like a single-decker bridge, so I'm gonna guess that's the Golden Gate Bridge, and that like the Green Hills, like over by like Emeryville and stuff. There's his girlfriend, Jules Kutner. I know Nems would have some words to describe her from the song, from the first two bars of his song, Bora Bora Ora. Yes, I will take every single opportunity to roast Josh Pudlo after what he did to me my freshman year. Pudlo clearly had the intentions of making me feel unsafe. And again, he's clearly lying. I do believe there's a link between Young Life because several of the members involved in that incident were also Young Life members, and Trevor Millar, who was the leader of the Young Life cult, was the hurdles coach at South at the time. And the fact that your actions were going to jeopardize you is no excuse. And it's not a joke. Hazing is not a joke, Josh Pudlo. What you did, Josh Pudlo, and I'm speaking to you as a man, what you did, dude, was not a joke. That was hazing. That was fear assault. And I don't know what all else, but definitely fear assault. And I know that because my younger brother has beaten 2 fear assault cases, bro. So, including one which he committed against me 6 months after you did fear assault against me. And I will talk about Trevor all I want because he was violating the Constitution. He was violating ASD policy. He was abusing his position as an assistant track coach to recruit for a religious cult, a religious Protestant cult, which he was the leader of. So I will say what I have to say about Trevor Millar, and you can't stop me. And I do believe that Trevor Millar had you haze me, and I do think you're lying because most people on the south side of Anchorage are liars. Okay? People on the east side will be honest with you. People on the west side will be honest with you. Except maybe if they're from Turnagain. But people from South Anchorage, especially people from Bear Valley, are known liars. And I know that for a fact. Because I grew up in Rabbit Creek, which is next to Bear Valley. And you should have been arrested, Josh Pudlo. You should have been doing a bid, a 5-year bid, 10-year bid. Nothing heavy, not football numbers, but you should be doing a bid for hazing. And the Alaska Bar Association seems to agree with me. And it seems as if the administration of South Anchorage High and the cops in Fairbanks and in Anchorage and the district attorney in Fairbanks and the district attorney in Anchorage were not listening to the recommendations of the Alaska Bar Association. It seems like they were sweeping the issue under the rug and running cover for you. Again, all of those people involved will face consequences because I not only will I file a personal injury lawsuit against you for fear assault, but I will also file a lawsuit against the Anchorage School District for sweeping the issue under the rug and for letting you off easy and running cover for you and running cover for Brett Mormon, Andrew West, and Roman Stephan and all of those others that were present in the room. And you want to know what else? Because this is one of the few years where the state meet was before school graduation. So we were back at school the next week. And we were in the Commons. I was with Justice Al-Nafa and Andrew West in the Commons. And somehow Andrew West had told Justice Al-Nafa what happened. How, bruh, Andrew West had told Justice Al-Nafa what happened. Because both of them asked me if I liked cocaine the very next week. So I'm also probably going to prosecute Andrew West as well. So there you go. Or file a lawsuit against Andrew West as well. So there you go. There you go.